Hello, everyone. So this week I was able to play Trek To Yomi. This is a new game that is on Xbox and also PC through Xbox Game Pass. So if you have that subscription, you'll be able to download this one for free. Technically, if you have a subscription, it is by Devolver Digital and developed by Flying Wild Hog. So it came out on Thursday of this week, so May 5th, and I was able to play through the whole campaign. It took me about like 3.5 hours to do so, so it was pretty easy to fly through this game. But without further ado, I'm going to get into my review for it. So yes, let us do this. The Trick to Yome is kind of like a well, it has so many camera angles to say, but it's mostly like a side-scrolling adventure where you play as a samurai, and as a vow to his dying master, the young swordsman Hiroki, who you play as throughout the entire game, is sworn to protect his town and the people he loves against all threats. He lost a lot when he was younger to a group of bandits who come in and again attack his town, but now he is the sworn defender of it, and he is faced with a tragedy and bound to the duty to protect his village. So he must basically voyage to the afterlife known as Yomi to confront death himself and look to his path forward after he is slain in a battle. So it definitely is kind of takes on that aspect of Homer's definition of a true hero, someone who dies, basically goes essentially to the afterlife and is able to fight his way back to life to fulfill his purpose. So it has all those hero aspects, and it is a samurai game, so you do have some pretty sweet gameplay to go to, of course, the mission that you're going for. So when I kind of say this is a bit of a side scroller, it's kind of hard to define it as exactly that. But basically, you move from side to side on the screen, and the camera angles that they have in this have extremely great cinematography. And yeah, kind of the best way I can describe it is again, you move from the side, and there's sometimes where all of a sudden the camera angles switch, and now you're moving your character up like a thing of staircases, or it'll be windy, and you have to move your guy down like a bunch of staircases and whatnot. It's basically like it's it mostly picks one angle, and then you have to, of course, on your controller, move your character to where you want to go. And there is a decent amount of like exploration that you can do in this game, but mostly you just want to get from one end of the screen to the other, defeating all the enemies that are within the realm that you're in and collecting any collectibles along the way that'll either just be more things you can read about the history of the characters and the land and the world that they come from, or you can collect a bunch of upgrades that'll help you combat wise throughout this game. So a lot of those collectibles will be things like additional ranged weapons that add to your arsenal. And this ranges from a longbow, throwing knives, shurikens, or basically like a shotgun that you have at your arsenal too. And these upgrades, well, once you find them, they will allow you to basically have more ammunition for these long ranged weapons. So, yes, the bow is very, very good at taking out enemies who are at a long distance from you. It's a pretty straight shot. So, if you shoot, you're pretty much bound to hit your targets. There's the throwing knives that are a really good way to stagger your enemy while you're trying to get close to them, and then you can hit them with a combo of your attacks with your sword. Or there's the shotgun, which takes a while to reload and shoots, but if there's like a bunch of enemies coming at you, or a stronger enemy who's coming towards you, one shot of this will pretty much clear them out. So it takes a while to use, but yeah, if they're kind of medium range, it's something very, very good to clear like a bunch of enemies on the screen. It just again, it's going to take you a while, and you are left completely open to hits during this time. There's a decent amount of enemy variety too that'll come at you who have ranged attacks, bow attacks. Basically, every arsenal that you have, they have as well. Just the only thing I can think of is there's enemies. I didn't think I encountered one who had throwing knives at all. But yeah, they'll come at you in waves, and sometimes on their own, sometimes in their waves. There's a bunch of like mini boss battles and a bunch of big boss battles, and all of them I found were programmed well. They're decently challenging. They all have their different move sets. I didn't get bored of the variety that they had in here, but it didn't feel like I was fighting the same enemy every single time. And of course, I found some move sets that were really good to take down kind of each set of enemy. It was you didn't have to just completely use one tactic the entire time, and it kind of forced you to, depending on how surrounded you get, to use different tactics. So that was very, very nice to shake up the gameplay a bit. And of course, some of the other collectibles you can find are basically more combos that will add to your sword combats. So yes, it's just basically more heavy attacks, chain attacks, things like that that will allow you to take on enemies a lot easier, a lot quicker, and of course, too, just kind of suit your style. I found the best one really was you can change your stance to look because, of course, like I said, it's a side scroller, so you can look this way. Press A if you're playing on Xbox controller, and your character will all of a sudden swap and look to the other end of the screen. There was one really good one where you use the X button to do light attacks, Y to do heavy attacks. I found really the best one was you let the enemy get close to you while you're looking the other way, so you're not able to block the enemy at this point. And of course, you can't block long range attacks, but you can block and parry any sword attacks. But to do this, you're looking the opposite way of him, and then if you press X while like using your D-pad like backwards to where the enemy is coming from, it will allow you to basically turn and do an attack of four really quickly. And I found that was the best way to clear out a lot of enemies. And of course, you get four hits in, which is enough to kill most every single enemy in this game if you're going on kind of the easier or medium difficulty, which I played on. So yes, the combat does shake up a lot, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was easily one of the best parts of this game. The soundtrack is incredible too. It has very good music that is just really authentic to the time period that it takes place in, and it's just epic, emotional, in all the moments that it needs to be. It is correct and just very, very effective in what it is there to do. And of course, too, this whole game is in black and white. And I kind of love that too, because mixed with the camera angles, the cinematography, there's so much that they have in this. There's shots where you have to basically run and take cover from a slew of fire arrows coming down at you. It was just very authentic to the old Kurosawa films back in those days. And just like Ghost of Tsushima was, this is another really great take on that, where of course it's in a true black and white, but everything, all the fire images, textures of the world, all the little details on the buildings, the swords, the enemies, things like that are so authentic. And again, just huge Kurosawa influence, and it worked really, really well in terms of this video game. It was absolutely beautiful to play as, and again, too, just for someone who loves those old samurai movies like me, this is gonna be right up your alley if you're like that too, because it's just an absolute pleasure to watch while you're playing it. It's extremely epic, just extremely well done. Every single frame and shot is glorious. And of course, too, like I said, this game is decently short. I was able to get not all of the upgrades on the items, but a damn good chunk of them. And I want to say close to 80% of the collectibles in this. And again, I was able to do it in about, like I said, close to 3.5 hours long. Of course, you can take more time exploring everything. I definitely did, but there's a sprint ability that allows you to get through it quicker. So, yeah, you can bust through it pretty easy. I was expecting the game to be a little bit longer. Kind of by the end of it, I felt like it might have been. It was starting to get to the point. It didn't quite get there, but where I felt it could have been repetitive if it wasn't taking up the enemy types, the locations, gameplay, things like that. So I do feel like the length was decent enough, but it still feels like you can get through this really quick. And I think it's about like $26 Canadian if you want to buy this game full. But for something that went free on Game Pass day one, this is definitely just absolutely fine for what they were able to put out. And something very easy to binge in a day, which I was basically able to do. Not in one sitting, because I did have things to do, but you can easily clear this again, like I said, 3, 4, 5 hours, depending on how much time you want to take with it. It does give you a few choices to basically help you on your path depending on what you think your hero should be doing. If I don't want to get too much into it for spoiler sake, but yeah, there's a few choices that can change a little bit of the environments that you're going into, and just the meaning of what this trek means for Hiroki. And I found too the storytelling isn't really all that tedious. It is very well done, decently well paced, and yeah, something that did keep me interested on top of the very awesome samurai action that this game provides for you. So I did really enjoy my time with this game, and I do think that it's going to be for everyone, but really with everything taken together, I have to give Trek To Yomi a 7.5 out of 10. It was an absolute blast. Like I said, if you're able to get this on Game Pass, it is well worth the your time. I don't know if I want to say it's worth like the $26 unless you're going if you it's hard to say if you're really gonna like it or not, but if you love kind of sky scrolling games like this, Kurosawa influence, I would say it would be worth the money, but maybe just wait for a sale. But again, if it's on free on Game Pass, it is very well worth your time. It's definitely awesome. It's very cinematic and amazing, and as again, the visuals are so cool, and it is, I think, enough to entertain anyone, especially if you love films, kind of like I do in the Kurosawa samurai films. But if you play Trek to Yomi, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. And if you like this video game review, check out all my reviews and everything I do on the channel through my playlist down below. And I'll link some up top here for convenience sake. Thank you for subscribing and turn that little ringer on so you know when I upload new videos. If you want to check out everything I do Twitch and live stream wise, there's a link to that in the description of this video and of course my channel bio. And in both of those places, there's a link to the Media Mountain, which is my Discord where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, pretty much everything that's awesome in this world. So you can join that amazing community. I'll make it even more amazing than it is already. Like I said, I'll link my part one somewhere in these top corners to my game. I have it all uploaded on YouTube so you can watch it or check it out if you want to think about picking it up for yourself. And yeah, just awesome, guys.